Lamar Jackson for MVP.
I know he looked so good.
Lamar Jackson for MVP. I want it. Let's go. I
Also,
mean,
also, also, just beyond just the on-field stuff. I know people are saying is every social media account on Twitter is like pay the man, which of course I agree with. But I'm saying like the reason we're saying that too is because I'm sorry, like it is hard not to see how Lamar is playing and compare that directly with a guy like Russell Wilson who got that money and is playing the way he's been playing these past 3 weeks. Or just to see a team or just to see a few teams who are obviously struggling or obviously not in the position the Ravens are in because they don't have a quarterback like him. He is such an invaluable asset to the Ravens. I think it's almost hard to quantify the financial amount that it would mean for this team to not only lock him down but also hypothetically lose him if they don't sign him long term.
and I'm not take him on the field off the table for a second. How many like 8 jerseys would you lose out on Baltimore Ravens if you don't sign this guy, right? Like with the number 8 on it. He sells merch for them.
No, he's an icon of the
he's
league.
the icon. He's an icon because he's his style of play is so unique and also so effective because this is the third week in a row where Lamar Jackson has diced up the opposing team in the pocket. So I'm done with this narrative about how he can't throw downfield or this is all off of the run game. Give me enough with that bullshit. He's throwing passes into tight windows with a receiving core that I'm sorry is bottom third in the NFL. I know that Rashad Bateman's having a good year so far.
But he's getting production out of Devin Duvernay.
Duvernay.
No one. He had Devin Duvernay had a 2-touchdown game against the Jets week 1, and he had another beautiful back right corner end zone shot to Duvernay. I mean, I don't. And it's totally negative space hypotheticals, but I don't think if Devin Duvernay's in a Panthers uniform, Baker Mayfield's getting those passes to Devin Duvernay. I don't think if he's in a Browns uniform, Jacoby Brissett has actually been pretty accurate the last few weeks.
Talk about size as a skill
Yeah,
for a quarterback.
for sure.
Anyway,
so maybe he's not the best example, but I just mean take a garden variety, take a lower 15 quarterback. I don't think he's having the same production with this receiving core. I mean, and I'm saying receiving core because I know obviously the skeleton key to the Ravens offense is, interestingly, it's the Mark Andrews Lamar connection.
Yeah.
And Mark Andrews again is proving his worth with 2 receiving touchdowns. They have that connection, but the fact that he can augment it by throwing to Duvernay or by throwing to Rashad Bateman, it's proving that he's not just I need to scramble out of the pocket before it breaks down because I don't know how to get through my reads, or I'm not seeing people who are in open space. That's not happening.
Yeah.
It's not happening through 3 weeks. And he's seeing everything, and he's dicing up people with his arm.
And like I understand, J.K. Dobbins has returned, but the offensive line is banged up. The run game is not what it was, and frankly, I think you need to question Greg Roman and like some of the decisions that he makes because it seems like when the run game isn't working, he has a difficult time scheming up pass options for Lamar Jackson. But it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter.
And he's still performing. And he's not. And also, if you look at some of the numbers, I think Nate Tice over at The Athletic wrote about this. They're actually like, in terms of personnel and in terms of scheming, they're actually not going to as many so far this year. I mean, it's 3 games, but based off last year, I mean, just going by the if you were to graph it on to the next 14 weeks or whatever. The formations where it would seem like it's a run first option for Lamar, they're doing that less. He's starting out from under center so much more already than he was last year because they can rely on his throws.
Yeah.
They don't need him to be in the shotgun. They don't need him to be in as an essential halfback at quarterback because of what he's doing with his arm these past 3 weeks.
And I don't know if he looks as fast as he does this year that he has in previous years, but it doesn't matter because he is a top 5 quarterback.
I don't know. On that 79-yard touchdown run week 2, he looked pretty freaking fast.
I know.
He turned those jets on against the Dolphins.
I just think he gained a little weight, like to maybe become more durable,
right.
which I'm
for sure.
Of.
I mean, more muscle, yeah.
But
for the way he plays, I mean, I understand it for sure.
I get mad on his behalf because I think he's disrespected constantly by like a pundit class that's in favor of, a tall white quarterback. And hey, I agree. Size is a strength. And Lamar's what, 6'4"? I don't know why we're talking 6'2". So he's tall, but he's not, Josh Allen or Justin Herbert. But in terms of like professional quarterback play, he makes all the right decisions for the most part first 3 weeks of the league. He has the mental game and like the mindset of just a complete attacker and totally mentally tough. You can't rattle him. He understands just the offense so well from a schematic perspective that he's doing all you can ask of a quarterback for his team right now. And I just want people to reckon with this and understand what Lamar Jackson is doing for his team.
And for the league. I mean, I agree with, and also I just want to offer a little addendum. Mahomes is 6'3", so he is decent. I mean, I for some reason I always like on screen can see him as like shorter than Herbert or Allen, but he's not. He's only 2 inches shorter than Allen, so he's still a pretty tall guy. But with Lamar, I think it's sometimes like playoff success or his down year when he was injured, or like I think there's people in the NFL world have reticence to put him with Mahomes, Allen, and Herbert as like in terms of skill, in terms of like cachet, like top 3, top 4 quarterbacks. But if he is playing like this for an entire season, I think it's essentially impossible for it to not be considered.
Yeah.
I mean, if he's going to play, if he is going to play the way that he's played these past 3 weeks, I don't know how you could even. I don't think it's serious to not consider him along with Mahomes, Herbert, and Allen. I just don't think it is, because I also think
he's proven way more than Justin Herbert.
100%.
Yeah.
I mean, he's been to the playoffs. He's won a playoff game. I mean, I think Herbert tools wise is maybe one of one in terms of, like I was saying before, height, speed, skill, like intellect, things like that. But in terms of actual track record, Herbert maybe had one of the craziest strings of fourth downs I've ever seen, but they lost that game to the Raiders. They didn't even make the playoffs.
Yeah, I mean, again, but like now I'm like contradicting myself, because I don't really, I hate the like, if you don't win a playoff game, you're not like the quarterback that you like look like you are. Because the reality of the situation is why is Lamar not won more playoff games? Because the entire offensive system is based on the run and them running up the score and then controlling the game from there. You can't win that way in the modern NFL in the playoffs. And this is why Greg Roman, in my opinion, needs to get a little bit more criticism, because there needs to be more creativity in the passing game for the Ravens to become more explosive coming from behind. And Lamar Jackson is doing everything he possibly can to create that kind of situation. And so like, this is why that's my reason for why maybe the Ravens haven't had the same playoff successes, because like the reason that Mahomes does is because he creates explosive plays with his arm, and he had the players and the receivers with Tyreek Hill and Kelsey to do that for him.
And he can scramble. Like, and only now, honestly, it's interesting, because only now does it even seem like the run game is looking a little bit more formidable with Clyde Edwards-Helaire kind of getting more involved in the action, but it wasn't always that way. They kind of needed a lot of the run game kind of needed to be Mahomes turning the boosters on and slipping away from defensive ends and things like that to get easy yardage if nobody was open and going towards the end zone, whether it was Hill, Kelsey, Hardman, or whoever.
Yeah. So that's my case for Lamar Jackson MVP. The other stuff about the game, hope Mac Jones is okay.
Yep.
Hope he does well. He played really well.
He did. I was quite impressed with that rushing touchdown.
He's more athletic than he looks.
And he's smart. I mean,
goofy white guy.
Yeah, no, guy's name is Guy. I absolutely love that he's a guy whose name is literally McCorkle, and he's from Jacksonville.
That's his full name.
His Mac is short for McCorkle.
That's unfortunate.
Yeah. So I would be Mac too if I was McCorkle Jones as well.
Yeah, but this is why I picked the Ravens to beat the Patriots, because yeah, I mean when the scheme, the defensive scheme can't contain a guy like him, and that's why Bill Belichick has trouble with players like Lamar Jackson.